All right. What's up, Construct? Looks like everything is flowing through. Good deal. Maybe even comments if I'm lucky. Hey, look at that. How's it going? How you been? What's up, Reese? What's good? Being on stream, that's what's good. It's awesome. Okay, let's jump out of the Zoom here. Going pretty good, taking care of a few different coding projects. Awesome. You and yours? Oh, good. I feel like I've been outputting videos like crazy. Trying to find the right rhythm for everything, and I think I've just about found it. Hey, Levi, you're here. You're writing your next session. Well, you're here. You're over on Instagram. If I'm talking to other folks back and forth, there's folks on Instagram Live and then in the kind of YouTube, Twitch, TikTok combined chat as well. All right. First thing I'm going to do is do something totally normal and reasonable and put some paint into this notebook. As you do, as one does. Reese, you're good. You're trying out streaming on Twitch. Nice. How's it going? It's a fun platform. It's bring your, was it BYOA, bring your own audience. As long as you could do that, you're good. That's been probably one of my favorite things about YouTube for streaming. And honestly, Instagram streams have been great for this as well. Just and TikTok too, but TikTok, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's hard, the sticky, it's hard for people to stick. There's just such an impetus to go. But I feel like Instagram and YouTube both have people landing and hanging out quite a bit, which is nice. T, how's it going? T, there was a I don't know if you remember, I think it was yesterday or maybe it was in the past few days, but that epic chat that we had answering Matisse's question from like back in September, I finally got that edited into a clip on stream, and I've got a bunch of shorts that'll come out about it. But my shorts production has been prolific. It's been great. I've been making a lot of videos. That is for sure. Get. Well, that's okay. That'll work just fine, actually. It's really, it can't be bad. Yeah, exactly. Well, and crowds. It reminded me of like how awesome that stream had been back then. So I plan on making a short, I think, here soon, trying to condense all of that really good stuff into like a, how to manage crowds type of thing. Levi, you love the videos. Give me so much. I'm glad you get inspired by the videos. That's awesome. Hey, Serpent. Nice to see you again too. All right. Yeah, I'm slowly catching up, even though I'm not sure it'll be possible, unless I also slow down on having memorable conversations on here. Checkout line at IKEA. I don't. That may be a first appearance for the stream there. I need 2. I need D. I need D8s. 200 pounds of bookcases. Why am I so bad? Just whatever. Here I am trying to be like careful and get just what I need, and it's impossible. Okay. There, that, and that. That'll do. Okay. So, if you haven't been to one of these streams before, we're going to make up. We're not going to make up an encounter. We're going to follow a very simple set of steps and create a tiny little engine that's going to generate encounter ideas for us. That's what we're going to do. This isn't brainstorming. This is like anti-brainstorming. I'm not actually crazy about brainstorming, except in very, very, very small ways. So every idea that we come up with through this process is going to be so tiny and small that it's really easy to come up with. We're going to be answering really simple questions. And at the end of it, we're going to end up with something that's actually fairly complicated and unique. So we're on the left-hand side of the page. So for that, we need a D100 roll on the left-hand side cover. So these prompts are just to kind of give us a place to spin off into, just a place for the ideas to start. 33, lucky 33. Oh, we did this one too recently. This is Symbiosis. We did that one like less than 10 times ago, I think. Let's do another one. That would be 70 even, right? 70. Shining example. Perfect. I like that one a lot better. Shining example. All right, let me get the tables up on screen here. Okay. Shining example. Shining example makes me think of like a folk hero, makes me think of someone who is kind of literally put up on a pedestal, right? Makes me think of shining because they're literally in the sky. Could be something, could be like a sort of a demigod sort of situation, maybe. Like a paragon, you know, an avatar. Shining example could be a star, or it could be lights. It could be something. It could be literally. It could be literally the example to follow to like accomplish some sort of complex puzzle. Like if you're navigating a maze and it's like the stars in the sky, that could be the shining example. It could be shiny in terms of armor. Ooh. Kind of like that idea. We haven't done armor in a while. Okay. I like this. Here's what we're going to do. So give me a second and then we'll go from there. All right. Like I said, the brainstorming, the questions we're going to answer will be very simple. This is Mad Lib style. So the first table, the shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of blank. Let's see, we can do we'll fill out a D8 table using that. So the shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of, and we could answer this in a lot of different ways. I'm leaning toward being very descriptive, like the symbol of, like a snake, maybe like a, like a hissing snake, maybe. Yeah, symbol of a hissing snake. Ivory bones. I like, yeah, bones like a, can we do like a classic, like skull and crossbones, maybe? The symbol of, what's up, Sluggish? I like the rising sun. A roaring boar. Oh, my choice of animal, huh? How could you ever tell if it was a rising or setting sun? Be interesting. How about a, well, we kind of, I was going to say serpent, but we have a snake, so I don't want to do that. I like a bear. I like a roaring bear. I have nothing better than that. It's true. That is. Ooh, a dancing fawn. That's a good idea. Yeah. Dancing fawn, a prancing pony. That'd be one of those. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to introduce. This would be like a heraldry puzzle, maybe. Ooh, which would be. Let's dig into that someday. Differentiating between a dancing fawn and a prancing pony, like that subtlety, would be a great way to trip up folks in a puzzle at some point, or like identifying somebody or somebody masquerading as, like, wait a minute, this isn't the same at all. Like, look, like you guys said that this was the same thing. Like dancing print. No, these are very different. Like, oh, come on. The shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a hissing snake, a skull and crossbones, a roaring bear, the rising sun, a dancing fawn, something optimistic and virtuous, something like kind of already have the sun with light. I was going to say like a torch. Could always do like crossed swords, maybe. Flowing fields. Could do like a, hey Bruce. Could do like, yeah, chalice. I was going to say like a pitchfork. Let's do, I'll do each of those. I'll do a pitchfork and then a, I like pitchfork because we can take it a couple of different directions, which is always fun. Yeah, I'm glad to catch you guys today. A chalice, like a, what if it was like an upside, how about an upside down chalice? Just to throw a wrinkle in there. you know, always got to have a couple of ideas. One for T. How about some simple geometry like a hexagon inside a triangle? I misspelled the prompt. There, Bruce. No, thanks for calling it out. Was a symbol of... I mean, I'll simplify. I like your idea construct. Let's just say a symbol of geometric shapes. Okay, there. Shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of... Cool. All right. Second sentence. So we have the first table. The shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of something inspiring or maybe threatening, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would blank. So now we want to put out of our mind that initial list. These first 8 things don't matter. They don't exist. What type of effects might we see from magical armor being worn by, could be an individual or it could be an entire army in battle? Ooh, these are good ones. Okay. So, let's use the first one I'm going to grab. So would not fall, would not die. Anyone wearing it would persist after death. Let's say that. Blinding enemies. It could reflect light to blind the enemy. Levi, enhanced speed. I like that. Be encircled with ethereal flame. So if we take the speed idea with like the maybe the blinding light, ooh. I don't know if I can combine those exactly, but I like let's say move faster and jump higher. Basically some Superman armor, which is not so bad. Could enlarge, could shrink. Loud and scary as the death whistle. Bring ghosts along, be encircled. So let's say How about, so glow with blinding light? Let's say that. Would always have a feast cooking. Become possessed. Would explode. Okay, let's combine. Anyone wearing it would enlarge before exploding. Love it. Could reflect magic, imbued with counterspell, become a pacifist. I like both of those. Start dancing. Maybe they would refuse to fight. Maybe it's pacifism, or maybe it's something else, depending on where we go with it. So let's say let's do refuse to fight. Be unable to fight might be better, but Mario Gabriel Craftsman, hi, hello, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. If I'm talking to others, because I'm also on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that, but I see your chats. Anyone wearing the armor would smell like cheese. A marching army. Tremble the earth. Could take no damage if they cause no damage. Okay. It's good. Shrouded in mist. I like the glow with blinding light was one idea. I like the reflect, almost like reflect damage, would reflect damage, and maybe it's damage and magic and damage would reflect magic and damage. Should be kind of interesting. Transform into a coyote permanently. Back to the coyotes again. Be shrouded in mist. Hey Susan, thanks for the like. I think 7. Yeah, like would be shrouded in mist. Would be able to open portals. Hey Ryan, welcome. Like a plane walking type of thing, maybe. Maybe plane walking seems. Let's see here. Let's read through what we have. Which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing the armor would persist after death, move faster, jump higher, glow with a blinding light, enlarge and explode, would refuse to fight, reflect magic and damage, be shrouded in mist. I feel like something super mundane would be interesting here amongst all the rest. Transforming, inspiring others with music. Amongst all of these sort of high magic ideas, what if we had, what would be a good mundane? You know, we could do something, yeah, you said inspiring, maybe something, yeah, like strategic and inspiring. You know, healing faster. Maybe it's inspiring those around him. Maybe it could create after images of the wearer, could whistle really well. Could be improved accuracy. Improved. Okay, forget the mundane. What if taking the polymorph inspiration? What if they could change their appearance? Anyone wearing it would how would that? The armor always comes with the cloak of bellowing. All right, let's say change their appearance. What's up, Raison55? Welcome to the stream. All right. So what I think is interesting about this is that while what we've been doing is describing armor, that's not what we're going to get when we roll these. That's my prediction. The really neat thing, and I'm finding this with some of the stuff that I'm working on for the next zine, rolling these is going to give us a coherent set of armor. But what it's going to lead us down a path for is actually describing who sort of blessed or marked or enchanted the armor. It's going to tell us about who made it, which I think is like super fun. So let's roll these and see if I'm right. Double fours. The shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of the rising sun, which explains why on the battlefield, anyone wearing it would enlarge and explode. How do we make it make sense? It was marked the symbol of the rising sun. So anyone wearing it would enlarge and then explode. So that tells me that this armor is not meant for the person wearing it. Like, it's going to have the effect that it normally does, but the people who are normally meant to wear it can like absorb and can use and can grow in size. So this rising sun and the forger who made this is likely, if not, this could be like a misinterpretation of a setting sun as a rising sun, or maybe even a different planet altogether, because this is like Duragar armor. This is meant for these kind of deep dwarves, or maybe even some like giants or half giants, and they can handle it. They can use the armor to like change their size like Ant-Man at will. But does everybody, okay, we just found all that old armor down in the mines, and you gave that to every, how many, you got, I mean, it's going to work for a minute. It's going to work very ever so briefly, and then I guess, you know, they become missiles of a sort. But like this is what I love this process, because I never would have had the idea of like, armor that sort of mismatches with the person wearing it until we had these kind of ideas put together. Now it's like, now I love that. I want that armor to exist. Sluggish, the sun does sort of enlarge over the course of a day. You're right. But I do like the idea of it being like setting, like, because the Duergar probably don't see sun very often. The deep dwarves. Can't use a 4. But we can do a 7 and a 3. Shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of an upside down chalice, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would glow with a blinding light. So an upside down chalice and glowing with a blinding light. It doesn't have to be a blessing necessarily, even though that's the obvious connection, right? This is a celestial, sort of angelic blessing on the armor, and so you literally glow with a blinding light. I think you could take this literally the opposite way too, where it's like it's a blinding, almost like a cursed or like a harmful light. The emptied chalice could be sort of an inversion of some sort of like angelic blessing. This could actually be like a cursed set of armor, and maybe it like sort of does some damage. It like depletes or even like consumes some sort of artifact in order to or even actually forget cursed and like demonic sounding. I like the idea. This idea actually came from when I played the Seance at Blake Manor. They had, if you haven't played that game, I would recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Kind of a modern point and click sort of mystery solving game. And the neat thing is that it takes place over the course of a weekend seance in like 1904 or something like that. And everybody that's there has a different perspective on ghosts. So some people believe in it, some people don't believe in it. And one of them is a scientist who's trying to sort of mechanically interpret and measure and study the ghost activity, like the early paranormal kind of person. It's fascinating. So the idea of the upside down chalice, like what if an artificer was able to like extract magic from like holy relics? Like that's what this armor is doing. It's like taking advantage of whatever exploit they've found and depleting them. It's probably like it's a pretty corrupt idea. Like it's not so good. You probably shouldn't be doing that. But if it's like, what am I supposed to do? This is an energy source. I found it. I use it for magic. What's the big deal? I think I like that idea, the upside down chalice symbol, rather than something, demonic. Yeah, see you, Bruce. Okay, more 4s, more 3s. 3-7 this time. Shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a roaring bear, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would be shrouded in mist. So the easy answer here is that the roaring bear is the mark of, some druids, a druidic, some kind of nature-based, like the shrouding in mist. Ooh, I have this monster in one of my one-shots that I've been working on, which is this idea of like a ethereal, like a physical form of wild shape, like a creature that can manifest. So maybe it's traveling, it's shrouded in mist, but that also is carrying with it sort of this kind of wild shape thing, right? Transform. It's almost like a spirit of nature. That'd be kind of cool. Some kind of like feral armor that allows you to sort of like draw that in around you, like a better form of conjuring animals, which isn't hard to think up because that spell is a little bit cursed. An 8 and a 1. Shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of geometric shapes, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would persist after death. Okay. So arcane, maybe what do you call it? Whatever the word is for sort of controlling the dead. This would be enchanted. This would be some sort of dark magic that would... I actually don't even know that it would, like, persisting after death, like, maybe it's not even them. Maybe what it's doing is sort of an at death triggering some sort of like animated, like it's living armor now. It's just sort of using the body as a vehicle now for the animated armor. It's pretty twisted, but it would work. I like it. All right. Next, 3 and 6. I don't think we can do 3s, but we can do 2 6s. Shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a pitchfork, which explains why on the battlefield, anyone wearing it would reflect magic and damage. This is why I like the word pitchfork, because I think when I wrote it down, I was thinking like mundane farming life, like something, kind of down to earth, pitchfork, farming tools. But now, seeing it combined with reflecting magic and damage, this is like a devil's pitchfork. This is a dark magic thing. But reflecting magic and damage doesn't mean that you wouldn't take it. I think this would be like a boost, but there would have to be some sort of effect. Maybe you always do take half of the damage, so like you're able to inflict a whole lot back at people, but it's whittling away. Something like that. Next, a 1 and a 7. Can we use a 7? Nope. 7s are no good. 2's good, though. The shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a hissing snake, which explains why on the battlefield, anyone wearing it would move faster and jump higher. So the hissing snake now becomes the symbol of monks, fighters, dexterity. There's some sort of a guild or an order that it's almost like it's the Karate Kid. What's the like the competing dojo or whatever, right? Like they whether they're going through. Hey, how's it going, Scissor? Welcome to the stream. Maybe it's some sort of a Cobra Kai. Thank you. Whether they're doing it through natural or unnatural means, like they've basically enhanced themselves and they're that much stronger. So that, yeah, like I said, this is about the armor, but really it's about who made the armor, and this is how we could basically come up with all sorts of factions and guilds and stuff like that. Let's see, an 8. We can use an 8. Can't use a 4. Double 8s, can't do that. What's up, Mage? Welcome to the stream. Oh yeah, TTRPG stuff all the time, creating stuff all the time. Especially if I can roll one of the good numbers. There we go. So the shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a dancing fawn, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would change their appearance. Okay. So this definitely, like, these connect really well, because this falls straight into like the Fae, transformation, or maybe even like Fae possession somewhat. Like this feels like a almost Majora's Mask sort of like, hey, yeah, you've got like a lot of power from that, but every once in a while, it's like George. Yeah, anybody else know this? George, the fighter, he always wears that armor and he does super well. He's a lot stronger with it. He's able to do, but every once in a while, like his face changes a little bit. He says that he can like sort of change his appearance at will, but sometimes it doesn't look like it's really him. It seems like he's been taken over by some other force. I mean, they really enjoy the chaos, but I don't know. It's a little bit concerning. All right, that took us all the way through to the last combo, I think. Is that right? Last combo is 2 and 5. So the shining plate armor was marked with a symbol of a skull and crossbones, which explains why on the battlefield anyone wearing it would refuse to fight. Skull and crossbones, leading to a refusal to fight. I mean, I'm tempted to interpret refusing to fight in like an inability to fight, right? Where the armor has basically been cursed, right? Skull and crossbones isn't like marked and emblazoned on it. It's like somewhere it's been sort of chiseled in as part of like a cursing. So like this armor has basically been invalidated. Like this is gonna fail in battle on purpose. Like there's someone scheming. If we had to interpret it as sort of like a proud crest, like it's marked with this and somehow leads to not fighting, then it could be that it can't be used to fight against the ones who made it. So maybe the battle is going on and it's actually sort of this other faction that they're fighting is who actually crafted it, so it can't be used against itself. Mage, you think the idea of Fey infused plate armor is really, really interesting because plate mail is the most metal you could possibly wear if I don't really like metal. True. Might be some steel-like magical substance, but it leaves a big tree. Or again, I'm leaning a lot on like the kind of the Majora's Mask idea, the Zelda game inspiration. Maybe the Fae have been trapped in there, right? Like what they do, they sort of are feeding on the activity, and that's when they're able to get closest to the sort of the binds that hold them to the armor get frail enough that they can sort of act out, lash out, but then they get pulled back in. Yeah. So this gives us a lot of different ideas, like different kind of blessings, curses on armor, the factions behind it, what's going on with the battle. This is a good one. It's a good table. So good, in fact, I'm going to doodle it. Gonna make what we came up with onto this paper. Minish cap molecules. Yeah, exactly. So they're totally. So if you guys are new to the stream, try to do this every day. Sometimes I miss. Other times I'm good. I've had really good streaks before, months-long streaks before. So hopefully we're starting up another one of those. But these streams are kind of all about this kind of process. We try to do it every day and just make these short tables that sort of generate ideas. And it's become something that I really, really, really believe in. It works super well. Something that I also do on these streams is sort of practice my silly little doodles. So I've been putting, this month, I've been putting our ideas into this little square notebook. Just sort of trying to get more comfortable with this art style that I've kind of started using since making these zines. Hey, nobody's more aware of my lies than me, Construct. It's like, look at the name of the stream. Come on. Ain't no way I'm getting around drawing a suit of armor. No way, no how. I think I'm gonna start updating that. Actually updating it. Let's use this. Yeah, it kind of smeared a little bit more than rolled on, but we can work with that. Hey, Construct. Good luck with dinner. I'll be on for another couple of hours here, but no night stream. But I should be on here till about 8 or so. All right. See ya. Hey, Markini, welcome to the stream. So we just kind of came up with a kind of a set of tables, 2 tables, kind of about this protective symbol on magic armor, and so we put that together earlier on stream, and now I am kind of doodling it and adding it to this sort of kind of sketchbook that I've been working on. Yeah. Kind of as a way of practicing kind of this kind of doodle art style, and yeah, I just kind of like it. It's like an extension of when I first started doing these streams, and like, hey, let's take this kind of journal and start adding an encounter each day to it. I didn't know what that was going to turn into, and now we've been doing it for basically since September, and which led to me kind of launching the zine that I sell in my shop now, in print and digital. It's pretty cool. So I don't know what this will turn into. I don't know if this will just become, I like my little doodle art style. I use those a bunch, but yeah, kind of figuring out as I go. Hey, John. What's up with you? Welcome to the stream. Just finishing off this spread. Hey, what's up, Wyatt? John, you're thinking of picking up being a player after being a Dungeon Master for 10 years? Nice. Why not? Hey, Noah, you're currently... Welcome to the stream, by the way. Currently building castle walls as your first piece of terrain. You're enjoying it, but it's taking me a long time just for a single wall, so I'm wondering how much time spent on terrain is too much. I mean, you may be asking the wrong person. Because whatever that amount of time is, I haven't found it yet. I'm pretty deep. I'm pretty deep into that well, but I would say that, you know, it's too much time at the point where you stop having fun, where you stop being inspired to make it. If it feels like work, if it feels like a job, if you're not getting sort of the reward out of it, then maybe, you know, it could just be a different technique, right? Maybe you're be more into sort of casting or sort of impressing the stones rather than however you're going about sculpting them right now. But I would say that, you know, typically with stuff that we paint, craft, build for the table, build for the game, we get to have it forever, right? It's a great thing. It's right. It's going to help, you know, the game that you're in and every game that you ever run. So sometimes I have to kind of broaden out and think about what I'm making with that in mind and go like, okay, I'm actually okay investing this much time into it. But there's lots of ways to sort of get to where you're going. You don't have to put a lot of time into it if it is not a source of joy. That's what I would say. Hey, Cosmic. Well, appreciate you stopping by either way. Stream's been great so far, yeah. Came up with a set of magic armor. That actually became more about learning about who enchanted the magic armor more than it is the armor itself, which is kind of, it's always fun how that works out. Hope you've been doing well. Paranoid your character will die next session, but that's nothing new. I understand. That's always absolutely. It's good on both fronts, right? Good that you care enough about your character, and good that the game remains a threat. Paranoia can be a good thing. Playing a squishy character with poor defense. Yeah. Landon, you just got home from getting a printer for paper minis. Very cool. It's exciting. Hey, Rival. Tuning in, though it's your bedtime. You might fall asleep listening to the dulcet tones of, yeah. Whatever, hey, whatever works, right? Sure, I understand that. Cool. Another one down. Let's see here. I'm going to work on some typed encounters, which I'll need to pull up on screen. Should take me a second to do. Get these dice under control first. All right. see here. What's the best way? Best way is to have you guys look at the map for a second. I make sure that okay. Cool. Back. Almost back. There we go. Oh, rival. You wanted to say honestly, I made must have prep. Oh, the physical prep. Gotcha. Yeah, it can be a lot sometimes. You put loads and loads of work into a prop journal, rival, for your players to discover. You shuffled all the pages up and then slowly pieced it together. It was a massive hit. That sounds amazing. Nice work. Puzzles weren't super complicated, but have an hour. 6 of them are just right. Divvying up tasks and reporting. Definitely something I could do for it. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's amazing. I'm super glad to hear that. I really do think, like, I think if they were if the process of making them or the process of acquiring like props like that would be a little bit easier, I think a lot of people would like using them in their games. I think it's just, you know, yeah, it just sort of works. But it's easier said than done, right? Hey, what's up, Tiago? Welcome to the stream. Where do I have my... Here, I'll zoom in on that for a second. I think I can grab my big folder. Let's see where we left off here. Because I can't help myself. I have everything digital, but I also have everything physical because I don't know, the way my brain works, I like having physical stuff to work with. Okay, so we made it. All right, that's where we were. Coming up with... Oh, perfect. Wonderful. Okay. All right, so this is a table that I'm refining for print. It's going to go into one of my... Pointing it. It's probably very tiny on everybody's screen, but the next zine that I'm working on getting out the door. So, good, hardworking, and dishonest. Name TBD. The idea of this particular set of tables is all kind of around designing nefarious characters that could inhabit a world and ideally generate encounters. Nobody would have suspected the shop owner who runs this hole in the wall of using it as a front for shady stuff. So we've got, I think, the list for shop owner down. Chatty grandmother, family of busybodies, bookish couple, rebellious outsider, overachieving student, astute old boxer, apathetic hippie, award-winning hunter, skeptical retiree, overly polite shut-in, generous noble, and outgoing animal lover. I think I still like all of those. Now comes the hole in the wall. So these are places that could be fronts. Fronts for any sort of criminal any sort of shady type of thing. So courier service, taxidermy shop, a florist, mortuary. Do I like? Yeah, florist is fine. Mortuary, a brewery, cobbler's cart. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Wheelwright, butcher shop, candle maker. Hiss is right, rival. Shameful. But Obsidian and Evernote, I understand. I've definitely used. It's been a long time since I've used Evernote. I'd have to try it out again. Maybe I could get into it again. Nobody was who runs this. Oh, I'm not gonna get around. I don't really like that. Don't really like that. I guess like workshop. I guess workshop is better. Hey Sherlock, which shop? False Hydra approves. Glad to know. Study. Butcher shop, candle maker, apothecary. So we've got that. Cobbler's cart. We've got traveling. Covered. Forest pop-up pastry delivery. Grooming curio. A forge maybe. Smithy, maybe? Traditional workshop of a forge. An armorer's smithy? That's too wordy. Could be a runesmith. Yeah. Yeah, something more than just a... I was thinking of somebody who specifically... Maybe it's just like a leather worker. Leather workers shop. Sherlock, you like how I work with the minis? You do the same. You like representation on the battlefield. Cool. Great minds thinking alike and all that, right? No, do I write hooks and then pull them up as needed during the game or plan session by session because you're wondering which is probably better for a homebrew campaign? Both sound good, but what do I use? So, yeah, I mean, the prep... Prep for a session for me, I think in terms of what are the prompts, what are the actions that are going to happen that the party can react to, right? I'm always thinking in terms of what can I put in front of the party that will allow them to kind of have the most interesting responses. So no matter what session I'm prepping, first I'm thinking about the location. Okay, what is their current status, right? Are they whether they're resting, whether they were about to start a battle, whatever it is, like the location is going to give me the most sort of to pull from, because I want whatever happens there to feel like it came from specifically that location. What's happening in the town square could never happen on the top of a mountain, right? These things are distinct to their location. See you, Cosmic. And so reestablishing that setting, getting back into the vibe of that location and whatever was kind of about to happen or top of mind for everybody, I'm going to try to get us into that place at the beginning of a session initially, and really try to allow room for the players at the beginning too. If there's anything that they've been thinking about, anything that they want to go into, I don't want to sort of snatch the mic from them, so to speak, until they have a chance to sort of, react to their current status, whatever that is, whatever was going on. And then there's usually going to be some sort of inciting action. Maybe it's exploring the caves, or maybe it's somebody's coming their way, or maybe they're about to go into a fight or something like that. And that may be the top thing in my notes that I'm expecting is going to happen. And the party may take that any number of different ways. The only prep that I can do beyond that, I can prep things that, think of them as almost interruptions. Things that are going to occur regardless of what the party does. So I know that this fight is going to happen, and whether it goes well or goes poorly, somebody's going to arrive on the scene. Maybe that's going to be after the fight. Maybe it's going to be in the middle of the fight. A lot of things can change how that goes, but there's somebody maybe who's like looking for the party and they can't quite find them, and maybe they could end up hearing them, or maybe they find them after the fight and see what, kind of the scene that they've created. Somebody's arrival might be something. I might know that there are a series of traps in the environment, and that's going to be something to respond to. And so, let me give one more example. There might also be some strange either writings. There's going to be something in the environment that catches their eye. Maybe it's the way that sort of some statues are positioned. Maybe it's the remains of previous adventurers. There's a pack, and maybe there's some clues there. Maybe it's some strange magical potions that were just sort of left out, seemingly for someone, for them. Are they safe? I'm gonna have those list of sort of interruptions or like moments that I can foresee. Sort of bumps in the road that's coming. And my goal, aside from sort of adjudicating reality, trying to make sure that everything still feels the type of real tone that we try to keep in the game, my goal is to listen for kind of the quiet moments. Almost the way that you listen for popcorn to stop popping, right? It's like, what is it supposed to wait until it's like 2 or 3 seconds in between each kernel popping, and then okay, you can take the microwave popcorn's done. At least that's what I was always told. Seems to be pretty good rule of thumb. The same thing goes for a session. If the party is sort of carrying things under their own momentum, let them. It's only in rare circumstances that I'm going to interrupt a party. If they are, kind of going over events, if they're trying to decide what to do next, if they're looking at signs, in the town, and they're talking about we could do this or we could do that, or if they're having fun going back and forth with the villain's monologue, or celebrating and looting after whatever it is that they're doing, I'm going to give them space to do it, because that's the fun of the game, right? And I'm listening for that to begin to die down. I'm watching for, people to begin to, okay, they've had their fill of this. They're going to, at some point, the energy from whatever moment that was is going to deflate. And that's an opportunity for me to bring in the next thing. And all I'm doing is bringing in another situation. I'm bringing in another sort of inciting event. And then the party's going to hopefully catch that and then spin up, and that's going to engage them. And on a good night, I might only need 2 or 3 of those kind of inciting events, and that'll carry us through a whole session. Sometimes, though, players will churn through these things quicker, especially small groups where they don't have as much to debate and talk about, and they can just sort of race through whatever materials in front of them. That does happen. And sometimes in general, things move too quickly and you got to kind of think on your feet. But that's the type of prep that I generally tend to do. Actually, I'm not done. I was going to keep working on this. Sometimes I throw in an allied or friendly patrol if it goes for if we give them a signal horn in advance to call reinforcements. Sure. No way you like that approach. You're going to use it. Hey, I mean, the goal is to make the most of prep time, right? The goal is not to waste time. Or at least that's my goal. If I'm going to spend an hour preparing for the game, it's okay if everything doesn't come to fruition for the next session, but the next 2 sessions, like I don't want to go down a road of prepping sessions that's going to give me a bunch of material that then doesn't get used, right? If the party can go left, right, up, down, and I prep entirely over here for this one direction and they go a different direction, well, I don't want to have wasted my time. So thinking about those events that could occur and that are a little bit more floaty, right? Like they can happen, I guess, when the game gets there, when the game gets to it, then that keeps me from wasting my time when I prep, if that makes sense. I mean, when I first real campaign that I tried to run, I kind of got bit by this, by having this. I thought, oh, I'm outlining my campaign. I'm planning 7, 8, however many sessions in advance. And then the party did a different thing. Like, we went a totally different way, which is totally fair. They didn't do anything wrong. It was just a bad prep on my part. So a lot of what I'm describing also only works because I'm prepping sort of a session at a time. I never really prep things for the session itself further out. I might have ideas and outlines and vague stuff that I jot down, but the actual sort of session prep is happening week by week, session by session. So I'm never sort of working outside of the lines because I don't want stuff to get, I just don't want to waste my time doing something that doesn't get used at the table. That would be silly, right? And I think that fear of wasting time and that experience of having wasted time, you're good, Ashley. That fear of having your work kind of burned up, I think that fear is what leads a lot of dungeon masters to do things that are not great, right? Because if you've done prep and you want that prep to matter, maybe you'll do things like kind of encourage them down a certain path, or quantum ogre style, every path is going to lead to what I prepared. And it's like, ugh, that doesn't feel great, right? Especially when you can take that idea of an event that occurs and say, okay, well, like I kind of was even doing it real time, right? It's like this person's going to show up and discover them in the dungeon. It's like, well, but they're in a combat, so, well, it could be that they don't find them until later, but if they make a lot of commotion and a lot of noise and the combat gets out of hand, they might be drawn to them sooner, right? And maybe that person that finds them is friendly. Maybe that person that finds them is a roaming assassin. Maybe that person that finds them is just a wandering fae or a goblin or something like that. And so I think most of the events, sort of these like pop-up moments that we inject into a session, I think they're pretty flexible. If we just take an extra minute or two and say, okay, well, what are the different ways that this could happen, rather than making it completely quantum style and it's just I'm going to put it where I need it. Trying to think of, I always say, think about the most common way that it's going to show up. What if everybody involved fails? What if the villain fails? What if the players fail? What if the whole thing fails? How might it? And then maybe something just kind of weird, like always be sort of preparing for that failure, always looking for ways that these things could fall apart, not to prevent them, but to do as much as we can ahead of time to creatively say, oh, this would be another interesting way for this to happen. And I just jot that down. And that's just going to put you in the right mindset. That way, in the moment, in the session, you can go, oh, I'm going to, I'm glad I thought about this, because it turns out this is what's being triggered, right? Noah, you agree your players sometimes haven't got any clues. They've been directionless, but other times they skip about 6 quests completely. There's no telling what they might do. Yeah, and that's the fun part, right? That's the collaborative back and forth. What can sometimes feel like, what do you call it? What can sometimes feel like a detriment, or like a risk, or like a negative, is in a sense just, it's what we actually want, right? Because if we wanted to write a book, we could write a book. If we wanted to play a board game, we'd play a board game. Somewhere, we innately understand that what we want is this back and forth, sort of hard to predict experience. But what's difficult sometimes is sort of bridging the gap of what we want to experience versus what's natural to write down, where it's like you really have to lean into and learn. We all do. We all practice this, I think, every session, how to prepare for the, to some extent, unpredictable, unpreparable, like, there's improv involved, even if we've written things down ahead of time. You just never know where it's going to go. But that's the joy of it. What's up, Bob Jane? Welcome to the stream. Noah, they once made a complete detour from the campaign to find an owner and steal its eyeball. Sounds like a D&D party if I've ever heard of one. Sherlock, you think that DM should be there for our players? I have fun building or preparing a world for them and guide them through. Bob, the gravestones? Yeah. So the gravestones are a combination of the gravestones themselves are foam. The kind of the rectangle that they're sitting on, I think, is just is cardboard, or I think I used a flat board. What do you call it? Like a hard board, kind of like the stuff that like the back of a spiral bound notebook, like that kind of notebook cover. And I think I used either Das air dry clay or maybe like Sculptamold to sort of make the natural ground of it. But I've noted that down, because I think I've seen a request a couple times for like how to go about making those. I want to revisit those and make them again and see if I can make them a little bit better, because they're great. I like them. I love using them. But there's a bunch of stuff now that when I look at them, where I'm like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if like the graves were more like this, or could do this, or had this, or. So one of these days I'll kick up a stream and do some gravestone crafting. Yeah, totally. What's up, Green Dragon? Welcome to the stream. You love the videos. Can I ask where you get the Modron minis from? Sure, yeah. I think those are WizKids minis. So probably got them off the shelf or at a game store at some point. I saw them. Yep. Sherlock, what do I think about implementing wargaming like Warhammer in D&D, like a siege or a massive raid? So I don't know much about Warhammer, aside from, there be dragons that way. Like, I know that I have enough terrain and minis to paint forever that I'm not sure that I can let myself even experiment with something like Warhammer. But I respect it, It's cool. It's a cool looking game. People have fun with it. Listen, I love introducing different rule sets, games within games. I think D&D is just it's a canvas, right? We can pull in all sorts of crazy stuff. I've pulled in all sorts of little mini games and rule changes and side shots, one shots, whatever you want to call it. So I think there's tons of room for that. So in that sense, sure. But I will say that my instinct when running something like a siege or a massive battle, my instinct is to fall back on sort of a vignette. We're going to build the scene, but what the party is going to handle is going to be this kind of smaller moment inside of the battle, right? That doesn't mean that the party can't weigh in or can't have something to do with the larger battle. In fact, I think if you're going to bother with having a large-scale battle, the party should probably be involved with one faction or another at a high enough level that they can influence it, right? That they can get the giants to help, or that they can get some special protective magic, or that they can get some group from the mines or from the underworld or some celestial backup, or they can find the blueprints or the plans or the schematics or the whatever it is. They can arm one side or the other so that they can have an impact or make some strategic decisions, right? Help with, oh, you should go for the tower first, or you should go over here and deal with the bridge, or you should shut down the tunnels. Like stuff like that, I think should be a part of that, because that just sounds like that'd be interesting, right? That'd be fun for a party to have a kind of a way to weigh in on that. But when it comes to actually running the whole thing, every time I've ever tried to do something like that, and this could just be I haven't found it, I haven't figured it out, it seems like a whole lot to manage. It seems like a whole lot that kind of it takes the game in a different direction, which is not generally what I'm looking for. It's a lot easier to paint the scene of the battle and then kind of zoom in on what the party needs to do. So kind of like a lot of battle scenes in movies, right? I think of like the Battle of Hogwarts in the movies, where you see all the chaos going on. You might have little snippets of scenes here or there, but really we're following the main characters making their way through it. So I would think of the battle scene as sort of a canvas, and maybe it's kind of choose your own adventure. Like you could either go that way or this way. You could go help. Maybe at some point that'd be even interesting. You can only help this, person fighting over there, or this person over there, and it's kind of like what do you call it? Like they will remember that, like a Telltale Games thing. Like there's going to be a consequence. You can only go for one or the other. That's kind of how I would approach it. Even though I'd be curious to see and play in a game that had alternate rules for battles and stuff like that. I think that could be fun for sure. He played Warhammer 20 years ago, D&D 2. Now I'm back with TTRPGs. Want to introduce some battles or skirmishes. Thank you for the insight and advice. Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, I think it's I think it comes up often. I think it's one of those things that kind of comes around and people find that question again. Because sooner or later it's going to happen in a game, and you don't want to just cutscene it. You don't want to just move on past it. You want to get the party in there. You want to get them involved somehow. So I think it's totally a fair thing to try to do. Battle like Helm's Deep, exactly. What's up, Post Random? What am I doing? Working on some encounter tables for my zine, based off of this prompt up here. So I'm working on filling this out, and we're just chatting about D&D and games and such. Bob, you said you have other questions too. How do I make the tall grass? Oh, and the goblins, and the popsicle bridges. Yeah, you kind of said it. The tall grass, it's just annoyingly kind of gluing it to a base with super glue. It's a pain. It's annoying, but it gets the job done. Popsicle stick bridges. Just snap them in half, cut them down, glue them together. Tiago used the pointy hat siege rules. Cool. Cool. The other thought that I have about any sort of battle or war is almost more important than the mechanics of running it, is making sure that the outcome of the battle matters, right? When we mention Helm's Deep, or we talk about the Battle of Hogwarts, or any sort of war story or movie, fantasy or historical or otherwise, we care about it because of the weight and the meaning of what's going on, right? Like Helm's Deep is really important. We understand exactly how the structure, right, of the dynamics of the location, and we can see sort of the barriers, the walls, and what happens if they fall, and as the stakes ratchet up. We spend however many books or movies in the school of Hogwarts, so the fight happening there on the grounds, like it affects something that everybody's attached to. Just as important as how to figure out all the mechanics is making sure that the party has a real stake and that the campaign has a stake, and that whatever happens matters, and that the outcome can go multiple different ways. We want to make sure that these aren't just, sometimes these big events can seem like these big monolithic, unchanging, inflexible things, that these big rocks that stick out in the campaign. But as scary as it can be, if we look at it and say, okay, well, this battle can go either way, that's where we can do stuff that books and movies, they can't touch, right? They can't explore what if Hogwarts loses? What if the bad guys win? Like, we can actually explore that and see what that would look like, and let the story go that direction, which I think is partly what makes D&D so much more interesting, so exciting. You want to introduce some commando actions too? The party gets teleported to the enemy and captures them. Sure, yeah, totally. Tiago also making sure that the surrounding battles are relevant. That's why Pointy Hat. Yeah, I'll make sure. I'll have to check that out and see what Pointy Hat's method is. I'm sure it's great. Candle makers something. Makers shop. Apothecary horseman wheelwright. Talks about in the Kraken Weeks. He has a whole free adventure for it too. It's awesome. Oh, cartographers. Green, how often do I run games? Do I run any paid games? You're thinking of trying out to start playing games? I have 3 sort of personal games that I run. One of them is, or 2 of them are every other week, so I usually run 2 a week, depending on scheduling and stuff like that. I've never run a paid game. I've run games for friends, sort of, I've kind of a, call-in DM sort of thing, but I've never tried anything paid, no. So good luck with that. Sounds fun. What's the plot of my home games? Are they different groups? Yep, 3 different groups. There's a little bit of overlap between 2 of them with players, shared players. Let's see. So there are 3 games, 3 campaigns. The first one is called From Small Beginnings. The second game is called That Lights the Flame. And the third is called the Odyssey of the Prismatic Isle. So from small beginnings, this plot is well, basically they're sort of in the ramp up to fighting the big bad, which is a man who's trying to become, kind of resurrect himself as a god. If that makes sense. Like he thinks he's a lost god, and maybe he's right, maybe not. But they're currently escaping hell as part of that sort of kind of last run of adventures before the end of that game. That Lights the Flame is a guild-based campaign, so they built up a guild only to discover that it was corrupt from the inside, and now they're sort of building up and trying to bring down their old guild. Right now they are dealing with a dragon cult up in the mountains. Hey, what's up, Luca? Welcome to the stream. And the Odyssey of the Prismatic Isle is my first sort of kind of mini campaign, trying to do a short one, which is, going okay. And it's island-based, and the party is basically trying to currently escape kind of the monsters, the madness, the different factions vying for control of this primordial magic that lives underneath an island. That's kind of what it looks like so far. That's right, Candlemaker. It's called a Chandler. Chandler. Which I think I'd prefer to call a Candlemaker. Yeah, sure. Like islands are fun. The idea of this campaign being set on an island, I wanted to do that. It felt like a good fit. I've got a couple of different kind of island-based campaign ideas, but this was one of them. And really, what I want to be able to do at some point is run a sea-based sort of a ship-focused campaign, sort of going from place to place, exploring uncharted waters. I think that's something I'll try here at some point when I have the time. I don't even know One Piece, but yeah, I guess if that's... When I think about it, I think about like kind of more like Star Trek, kind of venturing to strange planets or islands, and sometimes caring for things on the ship. Other times like going out and seeing kind of someplace wildly different and new every time you land. You recently built a Viking ship for such a campaign? Nice. You guys are making some cool stuff, it sounds like. Let me see here. There's a link to my Discord if anybody wants to join. This is pretty much the only place that I ever share those links out. So if you're a Discord type of person, feel free. A lot of cool people over there doing cool stuff like what we've been talking about. Okay, finally, shady stuff. Kind of shady stuff there. So nobody would suspect the shop owner who runs this hole in the wall of using it as a front for blackmail. Black front for blackmail. Okay, shady stuff. So blackmail, but blackmail for who? Blackmailing nobles. Trading secrets, but trading what kind of secrets? Trading in. No problem, Sherlock. Or like military, like tactical, or like defense, maybe defensive. Trading. I've got nobles. I guess we could do royal. Trading royal secrets. Hits. Something like seeing into the future, like predict. Maybe it's like predictions. Could be predicting the future. Yeah, maybe. Smuggling, but smuggling what? Smuggling like cursed. Maybe like cursed cursed relics, smuggling relics. Let's try that on. Let's try that on. Let's see how that goes. Some sort of enhancements, like a, you know, magical steroids, maybe. Enhancement, upgrade, improvement, refinement. Ooh. I rely on this too often. What's another I think the word I was looking for is augmentation. But like how? could just be like arcane magic. You know, something that's like okay, we'll just go with easy. Magical augmentations. Yeah, I like both of those too, yeah. Definitely like being a front for planning a heist. Okay, planning a heist, that makes sense. Forging documents, forging contracts. That might be better. Forging contracts. Yeah, it's flexible. Okay, so 10, 12. So blackmailing nobles, trading in royal secrets, paying hitmen, selling exotic creatures. Maybe say raising exotic creatures. Buying and selling would probably be a part of it. Predicting the future, smuggling relics, magical augmentations, magic augmentations. Planning a heist, forging contracts. Okay, so definitely some sort of I mean, forbidden might be assumed. How about like something with curses? Like, you know, crafting curses, or for writing, for would just be like cursed components, I guess. Got the relics, so I don't want to spell cursed. How about dark magic spells, maybe? Yeah, betrayal or like bribery, I was thinking maybe. But that kind of fits in with blackmail. Dark magic. Oh. Yeah. Dark magic lessons. That's what I want. Dark magic lessons. Conjuring 2 favorite ideas. A rogue partner who was in jail. You know, a jail is not a bad idea. I actually really like that idea. Good one. I mean, secret is sort of baked in of using it as a front for a secret prison. But a prison for... Oh, what would be bad? How about a demonic prison? Demonic? Fae. You know, we haven't used... I've been pretty good about not using Fae. Let's try a Fae prison. Conjuring. We kind of have... Ugh, don't like those. Blackmail, secrets, paid assassinations. We have outlawed. What else gets outlawed? For predicting the future, smuggling, for planning a heist. Oh. Like a rebel base. Or the Rebels headquarters, Rebels HQ. There we go. Cool. That feels good. So, I don't have a D12 handy here. That's right. D12, all the way down. Okay. So, if it works, let's roll a couple just for fun. D12, D12, D12. 6, 2, 9. So nobody would have suspected the astute old boxer who runs this taxidermy shop of using it as a front for forging contracts. Thanks, Tiago. See ya. Or 2962. Nobody would have suspected the skeptical retiree who runs this cobbler's cart from being a front for trading in royal secrets. Cool. All right, this one may get pared down, but I like where it is right now. I think that's pretty good. We'll see. It might be a challenge for layout because that is a lot of ideas for one page. But you know what? Rather have a bunch than not enough. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go refresh my coffee. Two minutes. Be right back. Crazy storm in here. Just waiting for to knock out power. That I would be so lucky. Let's get some new music. Okay, let's type up a new one. Takes us halfway through. It's not bad. It's not bad. This next one will be fun. All right, so we need to pull in from here. Nope. Here. This guy. Okay. Okay. Okay, so 3d12 lists. I think, did I rewrite the beware? Yeah, I did rewrite this. Beware the spooky haunt. Beware. Travel to the haunted someone who wants to do something. A hidden tunnel beneath a well. It's possible. Hidden tunnel under the well. We'll see if it survives. We also have the inn's floor and the royal tomb, schools, hedge maze. I'm not coming up with these ideas now. I wrote these down for myself the other day. Schools, hedge maze, icy northern pass, deserted pass, maybe burned watchtower, deserted empty orphanage, Castle's east wing, library, lighthouse, cellar, cellar, flooded crystal caverns, close. Ship's cargo hold. Crow's nest at night. Brew house, brewing tanks. Construct, no, I have not. I have not started the Forever War yet. But I did read I started to read what you wrote about it and then stopped because I need to read it myself. Okay. I don't think it did either. I just by nature of like, oh yeah, cool, you started to. I just didn't dig in because I wouldn't have much to contribute yet. Hunter's Cabin. I like the Hunter's Cabin. Beware. Hunter's Cabin, werewolves, sure. What's the... Too long, we'll see. I like the inn's third floor. I'm going to say hedge maze at night. I'm just stealing this idea directly from Seance of Blake Manor. It's such a cool game. That way it's not just the school's hedge maze. It can be anywhere. The deserted, the icy northern pass, the burned. How about toppled watchtower? That way we can use burned someplace else. Toppled watchtower. Castles. Cellar. Docks. Sort of docks. Yeah, this one. So it's a rewrite of November 13th's stream called Haunted Purpose. Beware the spooky haunt. Whatever you do, a spirit waits there with a growing need to finish their business. It was called... Probably going to get the name slightly wrong, but it's Seance at Lake Manor. I think that's what it was called. Seance. Seance of Blake Manor. Yeah, the Seance of Blake Manor. It's a fun little mystery. The coolest thing about Seance of Blake Manor, well, one of the coolest things, mechanically speaking, is it did something that Blueprints did as well, which is tie the clue-seeking investigation to an inventory, to a navigation mechanic that actually made a ton of sense, and it did it in a way that I've kept it bulleted as like a thing that I want to take inspiration from and create something in D&D that'll do this. So in Blueprints, it's a measurement of steps. You're exploring this house, you're building the house out, but you only have so many steps before you're exhausted for the day. You run out of steps, your day's over no matter where you stop, right? So as you explore this house, you're done right there. Now of course you can add to that, you can remove from that. In Blake Manor, it's time. It's a weekend, right? It's the seance takes place over like a 2 or 3 day weekend. So every single thing that you interact with, it doesn't matter what, every single thing that you investigate advances time by a minute. Every single time. Some things are going to take a couple of minutes. And so you can't touch everything it's this huge, massive estate with all these things to explore. And so you have to be choosy with what you're willing to investigate. To some extent, that's already kind of the case with any sort of investigation we run in like a one shot or D&D session, like time in our life is limited, but it doesn't feel the same. It'd be interesting to sort of try that out, right? Like, what would it look like to say, here's an investigation, here's a set of rooms, here's a set of characters to talk to, but you can only do this so many times before there'd be some resource that yeah, inventory was the wrong word, some resource that gets drawn on. It's just interesting. Subversion of most investigation games where you want to look at everything. Well, because you want to look at everything, right? So having it advance time and having things happen outside of your control as that time marches forward is just really good. Well, yeah, it's a little Sherlock. It is timed, but it's not timed like there's a ticking clock. You are the ticking clock. If you want time to advance, you interact with something. Otherwise, time will not move. So you're in basically stasis. It doesn't play off that way. Like, it's obviously it's a video game, so you know the time doesn't move. But every person you question, and everything that you touch and look at more closely advances the time forward. So you can take all the time in the world. You can explore the entire place up to a certain extent and figure out your plan of attack. But once you actually start learning, that's when the time is dwindling down, and it just, yeah, super cool. Yeah, exactly what Construct said. That's how it worked. And my playthrough, which I should just pull up when I talk about these things. Easy enough for me to grab. But I played through the whole game here on stream. Why does that not just give me a direct look? God, it's so frustrating. YouTube is so frustrating. Hey Ricardo, welcome to the stream. I am sort of writing a book. I released first couple books in a zine series that I started in November. So these little yellow books perched up here, yellow and orange books. So basically I print and staple them, and I kind of do it all myself. So it's just this little set of tables, kind of following this sort of format. So yeah, but it's become like basically my favorite way to brainstorm, is rolling on these things. Yeah, thanks for the link, Construct. I'll drop in a link if I can. The fun part about these tables is that they came from initially streams that I do here with everybody where, yeah, I just dropped a link in. They're called Encounters to Inspire. They're on my shop, both print and digital, which is just shop.ryanmldm.com, or that link will take you directly there. What's fun about this is that we sort of come up with these on these streams, and then I kind of use those as inspiration and sort of build a collection out of those, and then I kind of push them a little bit further. Not to say we don't do a great job when we're all just brainstorming here on the stream, but I'll take a D6 or a D8 list and turn it into a D12. Sherlock, do I ship to Europe? I don't currently know, but they are available digitally. I might look into it in the future, but I don't. So I think it might. You might be able to. I don't think I have it like disabled, but like if it's U.S. based shipping, then it's free. But anything outside of the U.S., it would be like whatever the cost is of shipping, which I'm guessing would be a lot. But I've never tried. So far, anybody who's interested internationally just goes, "I'll take the $8 like PDF version." That's great, and that's fine with me. Down in the ship's cargo hold. That's kind of an interesting one. It's kind of an interesting one. Ooh, you know what? About the burned. How about the burned gallows? Yes. Yes. Burned gallows. Hunter's Cabin, Inns, Hedge Maze, Watchtower, Orphanage, Carver Holding. Yeah, so definitely natural. I think Flooded, Crystal Caverns. Makes sense. Crow's Nest, no. Brew Tanks, probably not. Hunter's Cabin. Ooh, I like the Cliffs. Cliff's Edge. Ooh. How about, this might be a little bit wordy, but the Knight's Cliffside Grave. Cool idea. Well, I appreciate that, Sherlock. Any support is always nice. Not necessary at all, but appreciated. Ooh, a morgue. Yeah, I was thinking something with a hospital, maybe. And actually, this has come together really quick. I guess spooky things are easy to dream up. Got grave. Maybe like the brewery cellar, maybe. Yeah. So I feel like this list is, so it's like man-made, 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 presumably man-made, 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 man-made. Kind of feel like there need to be some natural options to balance this out. So a tunnel, so the caverns, the maybe the northern pass. Yeah. Like a forest or like a garden, or I think grove. Grove is always a fun. Maybe like maybe like a mountain path. Kind of like northern pass mountain. Ugh. I feel a headache coming on. I need to take something. Gorge, canyon, Craters, that's a fun idea. That could be anywhere. Okay, so a crater. Is it like a rune covered crater? Hollow Hill. Lakes can be spooky. Lakes can absolutely be spooky. Oh, I know. I got you. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just swimming in the spooky lakes, you know, finding the waves that I can surf on. I do like spooks combined with the cold. So how about a frozen lake? Hidden mountain. Abandoned mine. Caverns. I have a crystal caverns up here. I think this last one's going to be a forest. Forest or a grove or a garden. It's going to be one of these. Maybe even a grotto. About a mist covered forest. Mist just ridden. Just nothing. Misty, not misty. Misty forest, misty garden. Misty forest. Man, mist filled. Yeah, mist shrouded. I don't know, as much as, I mean, Misty Forest does sound like a Pokemon trainer's name, but I think it works. I think it works for now. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll get to that mist at such time that I get back to playing games again. Misty. Okay. A spirit. Boy, oh boy, does a spirit. Hey, your words, not mine. Okay, we'll have to. Let's use. Haunted. Hey, Sam. Favorite Gundam? I don't have one. Sorry. I failed you. I know not of the Gundam. Favorite video game? Oh man, I'm a big Zelda fan. Played a whole lot of Blueprints last year. Played a lot of The Last of Us. Outer Wilds. Sherlock, am I planning to do some painting tutorials for minis or even terrain? I don't know about tutorials, but like I'll probably do stuff on stream. The tricky thing is that, so when it comes to like, as much as I may showcase or may kind of show some of my work or like show the process here or there, when it comes to making videos for the channel, like a proper video, not just like a clip from the stream, tutorials about how to do this stuff is pretty far down on my list. The stuff that I want to dig into has a lot more to do with sort of game structure and design and like running campaigns and stuff like that. So some of that other stuff may come into play at different points, but it's going to be as a complement rather than as like a primary. There are a lot of great places to find. I may experiment here or there with like, oh, this is like I've got I think a unique method for like making usable staircases. Like that would be a fun video. I've said I wanted to make that for a while, so I may dabble here or there. But it won't be the next video I make. Yeah, Sam, Last of Us 1 and 2 both equally great. I don't know why Last of Us 2 got the hate that it. Well, I kind of know why, but it shouldn't have gotten the hate that it did. Spirits of a Lost Guild. Although I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy about the second season of The Last of Us TV show. That didn't really grab me as much. That annoyed me just as often as I enjoyed it. Sam, why do I like game making? I think that the idea of sort of cultivating an experience, you know, sometimes we're all just party planners, right? Running games, making games. We just kind of want to create the best circumstances for this whatever the time is, whatever the session is about. I find that to be an exciting thing to build to, right? Like, oh, what if you had the feeling of Indiana Jones, right? Looking at the journal and figuring something out. That'd be really fun, and to be able to actually create that. And the feedback loop of having a group of players that experience it, and then I can go back and I can work it and rework it and iterate. I find that I work the best when I can iterate and go back and forth with something in pretty much everything. So I find that process really rewarding. And you know, I'm a glutton for stories, right? I've always liked stories and storytelling. I like writing. I like characters and, you know, group collaborative storytelling. I love working with people. You know, one of the reasons I like these streams, because I'm not just talking to myself. Talking is a really helpful way for me to like process my thoughts and think through. And so it's even even better to have you folks here than if I'm just doing it into the corner. My family thinks I'm equally insane either way, but it seems more productive this way. So you'll find spirit. Yeah, I think this needs to be an individual. I don't like this. Okay. It's got to be a spirit waits there with a growing need too. Yeah, a spirit. But I mean, when it comes to, you know, making games even beyond stuff for my table, you know, making products, making the zines. I've got a couple of ideas this summer that could actually maybe be a tiny little Kickstarter, right, for things that I want to print that I think would be really useful. Maybe I'll be prototyping one of those here soon. I don't know. This one of them might be a secret. One of them I might keep it a secret until I'm ready to announce it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, why not, right? All right, we'll have to leave this one where it is. Leave this one here until hopefully tomorrow. I'm putting here. Let me do this. Last thing I'll do. Just because I'm disgusted with Construct calling me out. I'm disgusted with myself for not holding up my end. What do we have? What's today? So tomorrow, so we've got gosh, okay. Well, tomorrow I don't have to change anything. Tomorrow can be fine. The schedule tomorrow should be accurate. I should be on tomorrow around 8. That's the plan. And we'll do another encounter daily and then work on stuff like this. So catch you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the support. Check out the shop. Check out the zines. Check out the membership stuff. Get a brick or whatever. I need to look back into setting up on Instagram and stuff. But thanks, everybody. Catch you next time. Everybody have a great night.